The Apartheid Museum, in collaboration with the Ifa Lethu Foundation, will showcase an exhibition of selected works from its collection to mark 30 years of South Africa's democracy. The collection of artworks, repatriated from 16 countries, represents a record of life in the townships during apartheid days. Australian High Commissioner Tegan Brink joins us for more. High Commissioner, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chava, and good afternoon to your viewers. Just by reference to your last story, can I first pass on the sincere condolences of the Australian government and people to the people and government of Botswana in relation to that very tragic bus accident over Easter, and the survival of that girl in your last story really is a miracle.
It truly is. Thank you so much for that. Now, let's take a step back a little and just tell us how it came to be that Australian diplomats came to be able to possess and display the work of black artists during a very dark and difficult time in South Africa's past.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's truly an extraordinary story, the relationship and the history of the relationship between the Australian High Commission and this repatriated art. And it goes back to the 1970s, which, as you say, was a very dark period in South Africa's history. And now at the time, there were two young junior Australian diplomats posted to the Australian High Commission in Pretoria. The first was Di Johnston. She's now a retired diplomat living in Canberra, Australia. And the second was Bruce Haig. And they were one after the other, and he sadly passed away last year. But they arrived in South Africa and they loved art. And they went to townships and they purchased art by black artists and they displayed that art in their residences. They often also had performances by black jazz musicians. Now, what they did at the time, of course, was controversial. It was also illegal. And in fact, Di was, because of what she did, evicted from her Sunnyside apartment where she hosted these informal exhibitions, contrary to the infamous pass laws. Now, in relation to Bruce Haig, who came after Di, he also engaged in these activities, but by spending time in the townships, he also encountered journalists and activists, and he befriended Steve Biko. And just for the benefit of your viewers, his life and some of his activities were memorialised in the famous 1980s film by Richard Attenborough, Cry Freedom. Now, at the time, he assisted, well, after Steve Biko was tragically murdered by the security police, Bruce Haig, the Australian diplomat at the time, helped Donald Woods escape to Lesotho with Donald Woods, the manuscript of his book Biko, which, further demonstrated to the world the cruelty of the apartheid regime. And in the movie, if your viewers haven't seen it, Bruce there's a young guy with a great sense of humour and an Australian accent, and that's Bruce. He wasn't called Bruce in the film because this story didn't come out in 1987, but it was Bruce Haig.
That is a spectacular story. You have to tell us more about the relations between the High Commission and the Ifa Lethu Foundation.
So Australia played a crucial role in the establishment of the Ifa Lethu Foundation and its mission to repatriate art that was purchased and acquired during the apartheid era, which, is part of your country's cultural heritage. And, these artists at the time, they didn't get the recognition that they were due. They weren't able to show their art in national museums, and it wasn't able to attain its true value. So Di Johnston made a promise at the time. She said, when democracy comes to South Africa, I will return this art. And she did, and Bruce Haig did as well. He handed back the pieces of art that he had purchased during his posting in Pretoria, and the Ifa Lethu Foundation was born.
That's incredible. Tell me more about the process of returning the artwork and the exhibition which visitors can enjoy at the Apartheid Museum.
So Dai's art was returned in 2003, and the Ifa Lethu Foundation was founded in 2005. Since then, and it's been sort of almost 20 years, the foundation itself and its director, Dr. Narissa Ramdani, has been very active. It's repatriated, I think, over 500 pieces of art from over 16 countries around the world. In terms of the exhibition, as you say, the Apartheid Museum has the exhibition on at the moment, Resilience and Reflection, celebrating 30 years of democracy, and it includes a selection highlights of Ifa Lethu's collection of over 500 works. These include pieces by Dumile Fene, Winston Saoli, David Mabele, and it also includes some work by contemporary artists reflecting on 30 years of democracy in South Africa. And that's something that Ifa Lethu's director feels very strongly about, that the foundation is not just about looking backwards at the struggle art and the heritage, but also looking forwards to and using the organisation as a way to support economic growth of the creative industries here in South Africa.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, and thank you for your time. Thank you for your contribution.
My pleasure, and I would encourage your viewers to get along to the Apartheid Museum. The exhibition is free, and when you enter, you'll also be able to see the Nelson Mandela exhibition, which is currently on at the Apartheid Museum. This exhibition is on until the 31st of July. Thank you, Mr. Chaba.